Hello, Mario! In this video, I'm going to start looking at some of the land use issues, in particular the setbacks, or how close to the boundary we're allowed to build. So the first thing that we need to do for that is to go and have a little bit of a look at the relevant district plan. Now this property is at 24 Baker Street, and that is in Huntly, and that is very much in the Waikato district. So what we need to do there is to go and have a look at the Waikato district plan. And there we are. If we type in Waikato District Council, that takes us to their homepage, well, to here, and there's their homepage, and right in there you'll see the district plan. Okay, and there, what we need to do is to look at the rules. It's a residential area, so the rules for this particular zoning, which again is important, is the living zone in the Waikato District Plan. I have a passing familiarity with the plan, so I can confirm that it is in the living zone. However, it would pay to check exactly what zone you're in. Now here's these rules here, and these expand out, I'm hoping, eventually. And there's the living zone rules. Now these are the rules and things that you can use or that you must abide by in there, and you'll see that as you go through there are various relevant things. So what I've done is I've gone through, so here's the various items, and they tell you. Now, just by way of a small explanation, there are sort of three levels or 3 degrees of difficulty. So when we say about the rules, under the Resource Management Act, you can apply to do anything you like. The council may not let you, but they have 3 categories. They have permitted, okay, so where an activity is permitted, that means that provided you meet the criteria in here, that you can do that activity, no problems. You have to prove to council that you can meet those, but that's fine, everything's sweet as a nut. However, if you want to go outside those rules, and I will demonstrate that in the course of our little exercise here, you can go to various ones over here, and these are either discretionary activities, which means that you can do the activity at the discretion of the council, or in other words, you have to spend more money to prove to the council that what you're going to do is not against the interests of the public and other people generally. So, and there's 2 levels in there. There's discretionary and restricted discretionary. And in all of those instances, the council exercises some discretion or power over some aspect of what it is you want to do. There is a final category, and that's prohibited. And prohibited means you can't do that under any circumstance. Okay, so just by way of explanation there. So we start cruising down through here. We can see temporary events, on-site services, network utility aerials. So there's all different things. Here we go. Access, vehicle, entrance, parking. Any activity is permitted if access, vehicle, entrance, parking, loading, queuing, manoeuvring space is provided in accordance with Appendix A, traffic. So there are some requirements there that must be adhered to, and we will look at that particularly in relation to manoeuvring, where we have done that. So reluctant to go out of here, but we'll perhaps go to Appendix A some other time. Vehicle movements, noise, construction. So generally it pays just to go through the plan or pull it through these rules, and just to make sure that there's nothing that's applying to whatever development. So here's one here, impervious surfaces. Any activity is a permitted activity if it does not result in more than 70% of the site having an impervious surface, and stormwater is managed in accordance with Engineering Appendix B. So straight off we can see there that if we're putting a building on a house or we're doing any development with regards to driveways and things, we must make sure that we do not exceed the impervious length. So I've made a note of that as I'm going through. Contamination's not going to be, hazardous substances, these can all be looked at. Wastewater treatment, not applicable. Notable trees, these are notified in the plan, so you'll know if you've got any special trees on your property that you must protect. Again, all encompassed in the district plan. Number of dwellings, one on land, one per certificate of title, except in different circumstances there where council, their discretionary activities, dependent person's dwelling, so you can add a little granny flat on. So these are all here in the district plan. Minimum site area, and that's given you there. That's not going to be a problem in our case because we have it's an existing lot. Okay, building height, again that could affect us, not to exceed 7.5 metres, so it's pretty low rise in these here, except of course if you want it, and then you've got to apply there. So as a permitted activity up to 7.5 metres. Here's your daylight admission. A building does not protrude through the height control plane, and that's height in relation to boundary issues. Not going to be a problem with what we're doing, but again, if you're building close to the boundary, can be some issues there. Building coverage. Okay, so this is important, so I've made a note of this. Construction or alteration of building is permitted activity. The building coverage does not exceed 40%. Okay, 40%. Now, also in the plan, there are things such as definitions and things like that that may put further clarity around what is meant by some of these words. So, obviously, building coverage is one of those things that you might want to just check out what specifically it means. Non-residential. Living court. This is one here. Construction on alteration of dwelling, an outdoor living court is provided, and either on the ground, the living court area 80 square metres. So I've made little notes of these. Capable of containing a circle of 6 metre diameter, exclusive of parking, manoeuvring, buildings, etc. And obviously a balcony in some situations, and then a service court. So the living court is the area, outdoor area for barbecues and, the dogs and kids paddling pools. Service court is a little area, minimum 15 square metres with a 3 metre circle. That's in a little area, for your rubbish bins and that type of thing. So both of these must be indicated, and you'll see on the plans I've provided, I've done these. Building setbacks. Okay, the construction order is permitted activity if the setback, in places other than Raglan, so we're in Huntly, 3 metres from the road boundary, so you can't build 13 metres of any indicative road, so that's your building setback from the road boundary, 3 metres from the road boundary. This is from the expressway, building setbacks. This is from my state highway, other boundaries. So we've got a road boundary and other boundaries, and it's pretty much 1.5 from every boundary other than a road boundary, and 1.5 from a vehicle access. Now, a setback less than 1.5, it is a non-habitable building, so you can do that. The total length of the building within 1.5 metres of the boundary does not exceed 6 metres, and it does not have any windows or doors on the side of the building facing the boundary. And usually, so for garages and things like that. So in our little exercise, I have indicated a garage close to the boundary. It would possibly need a resource consent or land use consent to go that close. So discretion is restricted, so this is restricted discretionary. Length of the building along the boundary, height of the building, daylight admission to adjoining privacy, and construction that does not comply with the condition of a permitted activity is a restricted discretionary activity. Okay, so just getting you the idea that, you know, the rules are not set in concrete. They can be things. Setbacks, again, for wastewater treatment. And I think that's pretty much covered all of them. I don't want to go, but the idea would be that you would go through these and, you know, just make sure that you've got everything covered. So relocated buildings, again, is a controlled activity, you know, and such. Otherwise, it becomes a resource consent or a thing. Allotment size, getting into subdivision and things like that. So, building platform. This is one we need. Subdivision. You need the building platform, a circle with a diameter of at least 18 metres, exclusive of yards, or a rectangle of at least that. This is basically applied for subdivision, but I have shown that there is a building platform on the lot. So these rules apply in terms of subdivision and you know, building a house and things like that. So I'm just quickly, while I'm here, I think this is all we've got time for in this thing here. We have determined what the building setbacks are and written them down. Just to go back to the start, where it talked about Appendix A, I'm going to have a risk there and see if we can go. That's Appendix B. I think that was to do with our traffic one there. So I'm just getting down, coming back to that there. You're probably going to see it before I do. Appendix B, on-site services. Appendix A, traffic. So I think this will take us to Appendix A. And it talks about various things there. There are some bulk club rooms, dwellings. 1 car space per bedroom, except in there. So 1 car space per bedroom are required for dwellings with 2 or more bedrooms, and 1 car space is required for a studio or 1 bedroom unit. So we do need to have on-site parking, and one of those parks have to have manoeuvrability. And here's our little, yes, this is what I was looking for. Here's our manoeuvrability or our tracking curve for the 90th percentile car, and that determines, you know, how the car comes and goes. And here is the dimensions of our 90th percentile car, and that'll come up further up. There's the 90th percentile truck, and so on and so on. So these are standards and requirements for the district plan. So I'm going to get out of the district plan there now. I've made a note of those things, and we'll bring those up as we're going along. We didn't actually get to do any drawing this time, just by way of explanation. So there we are. We're going to try and put in our building setbacks and what have you next, but we've been through our rules. We know what the rules are, and we've made a bit of a note there as to what it is we're doing and why we're doing them. So cheers, see you.